I want to thank everybody for coming out today and joining the chat. We're about to have a good discussion about the COVID-19 financial resources for small businesses and nonprofits. I'm Darian Scott, Director of Talent and Economic Inclusion for the Chattanooga Area Chamber of Commerce. And we've been on a lot of calls with lots of agencies, a lot of partners. We want to thank all of our partners for the work you guys have been putting in along with us to bring these resources to the forefront. The point of today's discussion is to make sure everyone has access to these resources. And like I said, we have a great panel coming up. But one of the most important things I want you to pay attention to is to find out what situation best fits your business. If you need to look at this video later on and go back to it and kind of take some notes or whatnot, log on to the chamber page, ChattanoogaChamber.com. We have a place where we store all the videos. Go check it out and make sure you can get the information you need. But right now, I want to kick it over to my buddy, Marcus Shaw, CEO of Co.Lab, and he'll be introducing the panel. Go ahead, Marcus.
Gary, thanks so much for setting this up, and a big shout out to the Chamber for recognizing the value of small businesses here in Chattanooga. We've got a great panel today. From the city, we have Jermaine Freeman, who's the Deputy Chief of Staff to Mayor Andy Burke. From the Tennessee Small Business Development Center, we have the Managing Director there, Lynn Chesnutt, and we also have Dwayne Marshall, who is the Vice President of Community Investment at the Community Foundation. And having all of these people together today is important because all of their agencies and institutions are representing true tools and solutions here that are helping small business owners as well as community members in Chattanooga manage through this incredibly difficult time that we have. And so I wanted to start, Jermaine, with you because we've got some new exciting news in terms of the city's contribution and response to this. And so I wanted to kick off with you what the city's done and what the most recent announcements are in response to the COVID response.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Marcus, for having me. And thank you, everyone, for putting this on and for coming together. It's been great to see all of the support that's come into our community and that our community has showed for small businesses, which is obviously a passion of mine. And so to get right to it, this morning, the Chattanooga City Council took an emergency vote to approve $500,000 that could be used to provide some immediate sort of mitigation grants for small businesses that have been impacted directly by executive orders by the mayor and the governor. And so that $500,000 is essentially part of an overall $2.5 million package that the city has sort of put together to provide different phases of small business relief. And so the $500,000, it should start to be made available, and we should start to be able to take applications for it as early as next week, like Monday of next week. And so if you have, a beauty salon or a gym or a fitness center or a restaurant or a childcare center or a senior center, if you've got one of these types of businesses that was directly impacted by the mayor's executive orders, then there's some potential for you to be able to apply for one of these grants and to take advantage of the grants. And then that's sort of the first phase of funding that will be available. Right after the grants, we're going to have some bridge loans that will sort of cap at $25,000. And those bridge loans will have very favorable rates and lending terms for borrowers. And so again, if you're a small business that has fallen some hard times and been impacted by executive orders that were passed as a way to try to slow down the spread of COVID-19, you can take advantage of these bridge loans, which are intended to sort of help small businesses until they can tap into some of the resources provided by the SBA, either through the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Assistance Program or the Paycheck Protection Program. And so these bridge loans are really intended to sort of help get you over the hump until you can take advantage of some of those things. So very exciting news from the city of Chattanooga. And so we anticipate that, again, the grants have been approved by City Council, the grant program. And so we anticipate that applications will be available for businesses to apply as early as Monday. or as soon as Monday. And then we can start to make those awards pretty quickly. And then we'll have the bridge loans that come right after that. So yeah, so we're city is certainly trying to do everything it can to help small businesses, helping small businesses and diversifying our economy has always been a big focus for Mayor Andy Burt. And so we are fortunate that we've been in a position that we could help small businesses and to provide this relief.
Jermaine, thanks so much for the city, and really a quick response to some tough decisions that had to be made, but I think incredible in terms of the quickness of that response. Lynn, you are working very closely with the SBA as it relates to the payment protection program, as well as the EIDL. Can you talk a little bit about where we are there and how folks can get engaged with that if they're not already?
Sure. And by the way, thank you to the Chamber for putting this on and letting us be a part of this. So the first program, the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is a loan for working capital for small businesses. That was the first program that was initiated. That program, you apply directly to SBA. Part of that, there is an advanced feature with that loan that can be up to $10,000. When you apply, there's a place where you click on that and an advance is done within a period of time. Currently, we're hearing applications taking a minimum of 3 weeks to really be reviewed. Some are being reviewed a little quicker, but as you can imagine, the number of small businesses in our country that are reaching out for this assistance, it's overwhelming. So our folks at SBA, they're working day and night to get that done. So that's the first one. Again, you apply through SBA directly, sba.gov/disaster. That's the best place to get information regarding both programs, but to also apply through that one. The Paycheck Protection Program, which was the latest one, is a program to help keep people working, help small businesses keep people working. That plan, you apply through your financial institution if they're an approved 7A lender, and that is surrounding payroll, rent, mortgage interest, and utilities. 75% of that you apply for must be used for payroll. And we do have a lot of information we can send. I'm just going to get the highlights of this. And one of the things we were talking about right before we came on was, okay, does my institution, do they participate? I urge you to contact the institution you have a deposit relationship with and talk with a business banker. Talk with someone in the branch may not be, they may not have the information you need. So ask for a business banker to find out, are they participating? Some of the institutions are only serving clients. Some are serving clients first, and then we'll look at non-clients. So please talk to them and talk about that process. Applications are just now being submitted by the institutions. There have been a number of changes to this program over the last week and a half as we've gone through it. And then lastly, with additional questions, contact us, call us 423-756-8668, or email us, talk to us, go to our website, tsbdc.org, let us get information, and make sure you're getting correct information. As we know, unfortunately, there are people who try to scam people in these disaster times. Let's make sure you're getting the right information.
Lynn, thanks so much. So, from Jermaine and Lynn, both for businesses, some actionable opportunities to access funds, both grants and very, very low interest loan programs that can help businesses span the tide during this tough part. Dwayne, I want you to talk a little bit about what you guys are doing at the Community Foundation and ways that you are helping support individuals that may not be small business owners, but individuals that have been impacted by just the slowdown and rapid slowdown in the economy due to the COVID-19 crisis.
Sure, and Marcus, I want to again echo the sentiment of thanking you for moderating this conversation and the Chamber for hosting it. So the Community Foundation of Greater Chattanooga, in partnership with several other leading foundations within the Chattanooga community, created the Community Response and Resilience Fund. And the sole purpose of this fund is to work with frontline organizations in the nonprofit community who are truly serving those most vulnerable within our community, providing basic human services such as food, shelter, childcare, and those who are losing income in light of all that has happened with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. So that fund has been around for roughly 3 weeks now, and we have been rapidly deploying capital to those frontline organizations. We raised over $1 million thus far for the fund, and we have already deployed in excess of $500,000 through that fund, and obviously are planning to consistently meet to disperse resources to those organizations who are helping our most vulnerable. We have a committee of thought leaders and community citizens who are on the front line, who are well versed in the community and its needs, who are actually helping manage the process of helping us make those grant decisions. So we are always trying to learn and hear about other organizations who are doing good work in the community in light of the COVID-19 response, so that we can be aware, share that information with our community, and then hopefully deploy capital in an efficient way.
Perfect. So I want to just lay something out to the folks that are on the call, and then we'll get into questions. If you have any questions, please go to the Q&A down at the bottom, and you can text those questions in, and we'll get it answered by the folks on the panel. One of the things I just want kind of all of you to hit quickly, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. Just reiterate kind of the timeline on, are your funds already moving, and what the timeline around kind of expectations are. Is it a couple of weeks? Is it several months? And what the process is for people getting involved in those. Jermaine, I'll start with you since you guys are hot off the press this morning.
Yeah, so our grants should be available for people to apply for by Monday at the absolute latest. We will have a link that should be available on Chattanooga.gov that will sort of redirect small businesses to that application. It'll be an online application. And we anticipate that businesses could, once they go through the approval process and they've submitted a complete application, they should be able to get a check within the next week or so. And so we anticipate that those funds will move very quickly. Again, those are for grants that go up to $5,000 specifically for small businesses that are impacted by the executive orders. And then the bridge loans is a little bit of a longer process, but again, it could just be a couple of weeks. We are partnered with the Southeast Tennessee Development District in terms of administering those loans. And so that's that, again, but I anticipate that a business that applies for a loan could be funded within the next few weeks for the bridge loans. So grants, within the next week, bridge loans within the next couple of weeks. And so I think our funds will move very quickly.
Fantastic. Lynn, on the SBA side, any difference in timeline between PPP and EIDL?
EIDL seems to be pretty consistent on 3 weeks minimum. PPP, I think, is still, there's a lot that has not been determined. What I would tell people, and I appreciate that Mayor Burke has done some things to bridge. The banks are getting more and more information. It's changing, so be patient. I know it's hard, but sit down and talk with them. I do know, talked to several people this morning who are taking applications and are getting those submitted, but it's too early for us to really know how long it will take those to be approved.
And Lynn, I guess one question that we do have, and I think it's a good tie-in, for people that have submitted applications for either one of the SBA products, do they get a confirmation in terms of a receipt of their application? And is there any kind of interim check-in even before they've been approved?
So they will get at submission an application or case number emailed to them, which they will hold on to. They should be contacted once somebody is reviewing their application, because on EIDL, you're not uploading any financial documents. You're using those documents to apply, but at some point, they're probably going to want some financial documents to back up what you have submitted. So someone should be in touch with you at that point, and at that point, you should be able to, if you feel like, hey, maybe I should have done this or done that, you should be able to make some adjustments at that time. With PPP, because you're going to your bank, you can always, reach back out to your banker and ask them or change or talk to them about any changes you've had.
Perfect. Dwayne, on your side, you all are not making contributions to individuals, but contributing to organizations that are supporting basic human needs. So food, healthcare, childcare, shelter for people that are being impacted by the crisis. You guys have already deployed some of that money, I believe. And, just are there any kind of certain organizations out there that you want to make sure you highlight that people can connect with, or a place where they can see which organizations you all are working with?
Sure, and also I want to also answer the question that you posed earlier in terms of how does our process work and how quickly do we deploy. So we have video conference calls with frontline organizations who we believe are rapidly responding to basic needs through COVID-19. We have a video conversation. It's basically an interview with said nonprofit. We take the gist of that conversation, then have a subsequent meeting with our committee. And then literally once that committee has met and made its decision, we fund within a matter of days, like literally 2 or 3 days later after our committee meeting. So it's oftentimes within a week. So it's pretty quick. In terms of some of the organizations that we have funded thus far, it's been 14 different organizations that have been funded through the fund. And I just list a few of them. The Chattanooga Area Food Bank, which is obviously at the core of addressing food insecurity issues here within the community. Metropolitan Ministries, which helps a lot of families with rental assistance, loss of income in regards to COVID-19. Chattanooga Community Kitchen, which provides food and shelter for a lot of our homeless members of our community. The Salvation Army, we supported La Paz and Tennessee United, which is supporting a lot of the members within our Latinx community here locally. Clinica Medicos, which is providing healthcare services to a lot of our undocumented citizens within the community. And there's a host of other nonprofits that have already been funded through the organization. So we're very excited about the work that's been done thus far, and also equally excited about the other opportunities that we'll fund in the weeks to come.
So I'm going to jump into a couple of questions here. As it relates to the programs from the city, there's a question here. Is that supporting just City of Chattanooga, or is it any surrounding counties included in that?
No, that only supports businesses that are located within the Chattanooga city limits. Obviously, the money that we use is taxpayer money. So, typically, Chattanooga taxpayers are footing the bill for this. So this only supports businesses that are in the Chattanooga city limits.
Outstanding. And as it's related to the initial loans and grants that are going to be the applications open up on Monday, what are there initial loan limits on those?
Yeah, so the grant amounts, the grants are capped at $5,000 for the businesses, and again, it's just for the businesses that were explicitly impacted by executive orders. The loans are up to $25,000, and then we also have a bigger loan product called the Hud Loans that are really tied to whether or not you are located in a low to moderate income census tract area, or are retaining or creating jobs of people who live in low to moderate income census tract areas. Those loans will offer amounts ranging from $25,000 to $100,000.
Got it. Got it. Here's a question, Lynn, on the PPP. So the funds that are forgiven for rent are funds that were paid, rent that was paid after February 15th. Are those the only funds that are eligible for recovery?
It is they're looking at, as I understand it, again, you got to remember this is very fluid. The eligible for forgiveness that the business maintains payroll continuity from February 15th, 2020 through June 30, 2020. That's what we're being told.
Got it. Okay. So we
February. And I would urge them. I would urge them to talk to, because again, we're getting, this morning I got 32 pages of information. So as we try to dive into, as it changes, talk through your financial institution to make sure that your calculations are correct. Because the key is, as you're doing to get the forgivable portion, the forgiveness of this, it's got to meet the metric of 75% for payroll. So otherwise, you're on a 2-year term for payback, as opposed to EIDL, which has a much longer payback.
Fantastic. And Lynn, a follow-up on that, which I think is pretty interesting. We've got a lot of seasonal businesses in Chattanooga and in Southeast Tennessee. The 2019 payroll is the benchmark calculation for that. Does that include all payroll, including seasonal employees?
So depends on how they are, if they are actually employees, if they are contract, because the latest is if they are a 1099, they're not included. If they are a W-2'd employee, then they're going to be included.
Got it. Got it. So here's a question, and I think Dwayne, you highlighted this, but who out there, and I know La Paz is incredibly active, is anybody really engaging in communicating some of these opportunities to the Spanish speaking community or other business owners that don't speak English?
That's a great question. We rely heavily on La Paz to be that conduit to the Latinx community for us. We also want to be intentional about reaching out to Que Buena, which I believe is a local news source for the Latinx community. But we are welcome and open to other ideas and other platforms that we can use to spread that message. If anyone has any ideas, I would love to get those through the chat, that we can make sure that we're reaching out to those channels.
Perfect. On the city, so 2 questions here, Jermaine. For the city grants, and I think I know the answer for the grants, but for the loans, are those open for nonprofits as well as small businesses?
No, so all of our programs that are funded through the Office of Economic Development are for-profit businesses only. So that's the grants and the loans. They are for-profit businesses only.
I should point out that the United Way is doing a lot. They had a call earlier this week about funding opportunities for nonprofits. And so for folks that are out there that are running nonprofits and have questions about, where's funding for nonprofits during this period of crisis, I would highly encourage you to reach out to the United Way. And I think they're doing a great job over there. So here's a question in terms of details for the bridge loan. Will this be marketed to small businesses in any way, or is it primarily through the website? Will mailers or any type of outbound information go out to folks? And if not, I think Co.Lab's happy to help with that, but we want to know, should people be looking in their mailbox for things related to this?
Yeah, I don't know that we're going to do mailers. We've obviously received a tremendous amount of contact from small businesses that have reached out directly to our Office of Economic Development. And so we'll be, in terms of education as we follow up with some of those businesses, we will make sure that they are aware of this. But we will also be doing some press to get the word out as well. Maybe on some radio and on some a little bit of TV, some print media. But so I don't think that we're going to do direct mailers at this point. And then obviously with the limited amount of funds that we have, we anticipate that we're gonna go through this money very quickly. And so and that's just the reality of the need relative to the funds that we have available.
Well, I mean, I think again, the city's response to this is highly commendable, and the expediency with which they're getting it out there is also super helpful. Lynn, I have a question here on SBA loans. So there's a $10,000 EIDL advance that you can take, which is potentially forgivable. Is it still forgivable if you decide not to take out the full loan, the full EIDL loan afterwards?
So two things. It's up to 10,000. So somebody may receive 2,000. They may receive 3,000. I've gotten contradictory information. Still trying to get clarification on. Yeah, I do know this. If you're turned down, if you receive an advance, let's say for $2,000, and then you are eventually turned down for further funds, that 2,000 you get to keep without paying that back. We are, and please, I would say tell that person to reach out to me. I'm waiting for clarification on if you decide you don't want any additional monies, can that be forgiven? I'm still waiting for clarification.
And Lynn, I know you have your ear to the ground on this. As you said, the guidance is changing almost daily, and so we've now got 7 billion plus 100 billion plus 2 trillion, and the guidance seems to be changing again every day. And there's potentially more on the way at some point. Thank you for what you're doing out there. So a question just to follow up on the PPP. And I think I know the answer to this, but Lynn, I'll throw it to you. The PPP is for calendar year 2019 or for the trailing 12 months?
It is. It can be either, okay. Depending, especially taking into consideration, if you had a business that opened in late February of 19, you're not going to have a full year 19. So they're giving you the option of you could do April 1 to March 30, or you could do January 1, 19 to December 31, 19. So you can do calculations both ways. Now, your financial institution may have a preferred method. There is some, they're allowing the financial institutions some flexibility on how it's best to calculate this. So I want to defer to them on these is what is working best for them. And they should have probably a calculator to help the business owner calculate to make sure that they're not making any mistakes, because it's on the small business to appropriately do the calculation.
And if you are a small business owner with no payroll and no employees, so essentially a sole proprietor with no payroll, you're not going through ADP or any of these guys, what can you apply for and what do you need to apply if you can?
You technically, even if you're self-employed, it's just you, could apply for PPP. I would urge people to look at EIDL. I think PPP has really been more designed for people who have a significant payroll. I think that was the intent, because if you're one person and you've got a $1,500 lease payment and you've got you've got other debts, you're not going to meet that percent anyway. So look at the IDL. We look at the forgivable portion, and I get it, but at the end of the day, they may not meet the calculation. What you're going to need for a lot of people, they haven't filed their 19 return because it has been extended for many people. So, but they should have some 2019 or trailing 12 month financials, should be able to pull those. That's where your CPA comes in. That's where your financial advisor comes in to help guide you on doing this. And please, 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 it's one thing to pay a CPA their regular hourly rate to help get these documents together. Don't be paying somebody thousands and thousands and thousands for information we can give you at no cost. And to apply, most people can do this. The EIDL application is very streamlined. If they've got a basic question, we'll help. I know, Marcus, you and your folks will help. Launch Chattanooga, SCORE. We've got some great resource partners. Don't be paying hard-earned monies that you don't have to pay.
Absolutely. I think that's a point that, for all of these applications, whether it's the city, whether it's, we work with the community foundation or the SBA programs, all of these applications have been made pretty simple, and are really no more than 2 pages, I don't think, on any of them. All the organizations that Lynn highlighted, SCORE, Launch Chattanooga, Co.Lab, all of these organizations are here to help and support people in completing those applications. We have relationships with folks that can help you, very quickly get to what you need to get to from an accounting or from a payroll or an HR standpoint, so you can put an application in. So please reach out to any of those organizations that you need help with. A couple of questions here. We talked about this actually as a group a little bit before the call. Are churches, do we have a definitive word? Can churches apply for assistance? It seems to be some uncertainty out there in the community. Do we know whether or not churches can apply for any of these programs?
SBA programs, the latest is they can. So initially it was small private nonprofits that are secular. That changed in the latest update. So as it stands now, at this latest writing, they can.
And to build on that, Marcus, with our Community Response and Resilience Fund, there are churches and faith outreach ministry programs that are rapidly responding to COVID-19 within their community. And we are considering some of those for our Response and Resilience Fund as well.
Fantastic. Question here, and it came up, and I'm not terribly familiar with this, the agricultural loans. Are there any changes there in what's available around the agricultural loans?
The initials that we had gotten were most farms were not eligible. I think USDA, some other folks around the agricultural community were doing some things. So I would urge them to reach out to USDA, Ag Credit. I think those are some good folks that can guide folks that have the working farms. So
I got a great question here, which is a tough one, but I think it can help people as they go through the application process. And I think this is a great question for all 3 of the panelists here. Is there any reason, or what would be a likely reason, that a small business might be denied a grant or loan? Dwayne, I'll let you start, since you're working a lot with organizations. Is there something in the application process that we're like, this is something that you must have And if you don't have this, it's going to be tough to move your application through.
Great question. I would say the critical requirement is that they're providing one of those basic services that was profiled at the top. That's our key essential criteria. And again, keep in mind, we have a committee of 7, broad, diverse committee that helps us determine, based on the applications that have come before us, what are the ones that are the most important for us to find, who are servicing the widest audience and the most critical services that they have witnessed that are in need within the community. But if they are in that food, that shelter, that child care, that senior/assisted living support community, they would qualify. And then we put the information in front of the committee for them to help us make the best decision.
Jermaine, anything on the city other than having to be in the city limits? Anything else that would preclude a company from having a successful application just off the bat?
Yeah, so on the grant side, like let's say that you're a small manufacturer, under the executive orders that were issued by the mayor and the governor, like you're not going to qualify for a grant just because of the fact that like you weren't shut down. And so the grants are really going to be targeted towards, the small businesses that were explicitly sort of directed to either shut down completely or to substantially alter their operations, like restaurants, which had to close dining rooms. And so those are the businesses that we're targeting through our grant program. And so that's going to be restaurants, it's going to be retailers, and the mayor's most recent shelter-in-place order. Retail businesses also had to close. I think they had to go to delivery service only, delivery and curbside pickup only. So it's going to be restaurants, it's going to be retail, it's going to be barbershops, it's going to be beauty salons, it's going to be gyms and fitness centers, childcare centers, because those are the businesses that were expressly impacted by the mayor's executive order. Now, the other thing though that I would just say about any City of Chattanooga program is that like we're going to ask you for business licenses. So please make sure that your business licenses are up to date. You should have a business license from the city and the county. And please make sure that all of the information is up to date, including and especially your location and your address. We're going to ask you for certificates of existence from the state. And so just having, sort of those basic documents is going to be really important to make sure that you have all of that, because we have to have all of that as the city whenever we try to make funding available to a small business.
And I would say, again, if you are a company out there that is either having a hard time locating, where your information is, if you got it in a shoebox or a folder and you're trying to get another copy of it so that you can submit it with an application, please use organizations like Co.Lab, like Compania at La Paz, like Launch Chattanooga, like SCORE. All of these organizations, entrepreneurial support organizations, are out here to help you guys get through these tough times. Lynn, I'll throw the question to you as well for the SBA programs. Anything that jumps out that would disqualify somebody or probably lead them down a path towards denial?
Sure. It's a great question. EIDL, the primary language was working capital that you would have been able to have paid had COVID-19 not occurred. So initial turndowns we're seeing are people who the principals have very low credit scores, which are primarily driven by a company that was in trouble or struggling prior. And I sympathize with any company that's struggling, but EIDL is not designed to help a struggling business prior to COVID-19 rescue. It is, could you have paid it before, and you showed a track record of paying it before? And then the primary is, do you have the capacity to repay the portion you're supposed to repay. It's a loan.
Good. I think that's good for people to know, that, you know, a lot of these platforms, there are grant platforms out there that are things you don't have to repay. But certainly for the EIDL, with the exception of kind of that first $10,000, which is an advance and potentially forgivable, the balance is a loan, right? And so the goal here is that you will, at some point in the future, be prepared to pay that back. A question actually, and I think the answer to this is yes, you can use 2018 for applications that are requiring people to have their latest tax filing. Many people may not have filed their 2019 taxes already, and so I do believe you can use your 2018 tax filings. Is that correct, Lynn?
You can, but they're also going to ask you, and you should have, because questions on EIDL, and I'm sure questions for PPP are surrounding 2019. So you should pull, or you should have your CPA or bookkeeper pull a 2000 year-end 19 P&L, income statement, things like that, that will be able to give you the financial information you need. Doesn't have to be a tax return, but they're going to, most likely they're going to be asking for the most recent financial information that you have probably even given your CPA or your tax professional for when they are going to file your taxes.
Fantastic. Interesting question here, and I don't know what's driving this, but are construction companies disqualified from any of these products?
No.
So, Lynn, you want to go first?
Yeah, I just, from SBA's perspective, no. I mean, you know, it depends on how the construction company is structured as to what they can apply for. You know, do they have regular workers, or do they have contract? There's, you know, the short answer is they're not excluded. What they may qualify for is solely dependent on how they're set up. We're more than happy to talk with them individually about their situation and what they might be qualified for.
Yeah, and I was just going to add that construction companies would be prohibited from getting our grants, just because under the mayor's executive order, construction companies are considered an essential business. And so they are permitted to operate. And so therefore, we would not look at them as being adversely impacted by the executive orders, which is what has driven us to create our programs.
Perfect. Question here, actually, this is a pretty interesting question. So I know Artsville and James McKissick are doing a great job over there supporting the artist community. Dwayne, any other organizations that you know of that are working with local artists, either on the business side or on the personal side, to support them during these times?
Not at the moment, and it's a great question, Marcus. The only program that I am aware of is the Artist Relief Fund that James McKissick and Artsville have created. So I'm not aware of any other opportunities out there in the market for our creatives. That's a great question, but I'm not aware of any other opportunities at the moment.
And so this is another good point. The Enterprise Center, which is run by Deb Sosha, is doing some really good work. Mary Sargel and the team are doing great work, bringing a lot of these ecosystem providers and resources to the table. I know they're working on a tool that will provide some resources out there, and there's a daily kind of email that's going out to a lot of the resource providers. But you know, have any of you seen anything, or can you highlight your own websites where some of these small businesses that are on the call today can find resources in addition to your own?
Sure. So for us, you can go to tsbdc.org. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Madison McCann does an awesome job of keeping everything updated on Facebook with not only what we're doing, what Co.Lab, what Launch, what SCORE, Enterprise Center are doing. And you can also request information and she'll send you an email packed full of the most recent information that we have, so you have relevant and accurate information.
Yeah, and our information about our programs should be available through links that direct you to it on Chattanooga.gov. And so I would encourage people to start looking on Monday. Realistically, that's probably when the applications will start popping up there for our programs. And so there will be links from Chattanooga.gov that would navigate a small business to our applications.
And on the nonprofit side of things, our website is www.cfgc.org. There's a profile at the very top of our homepage that will link you to all the details and frequently asked questions regarding the Community Response and Resilience Fund. I would also make a plug too, Marcus, for those for-profit businesses. The Chattanooga Chamber is a great resource. They have a wealth of information for small businesses in terms of programs, local and statewide, for them to take advantage of. And then last but not least, there was a recently launched site for the Chattanooga community. It's chattanooga.is that has information for small businesses to be able to turn to identify, again, local resources. But they also have some federal programs that are profiled on that site as well. So some other great websites for you to frequent.
Fantastic. At Co.Lab, it's Co.Lab, COLAB/COVID-19. And we have a number of websites for community partners and resources as well. One that I wanted to highlight because it leads to a question. We know that many of our restaurants and food service organizations have been adversely impacted. We partner with the folks over at Proof Bar and Food Incubator, and Mia Littlejohn and Mike Robinson are doing a great job of helping to find ways to support local restaurants and food service organizations. So I would definitely check out their site. It's proofincubator.com, and they have a number of sites there and a number of events and webinars that they're running during the week as well. So I think, Dwayne, certainly, again, the Chamber is done an incredible job of recognizing that it's small businesses as well as large businesses that help make Chattanooga shine. And they've done, again, a commendable effort on reaching out and putting small businesses and support systems for small businesses on the front page. So Darren, I'd like to thank you and the whole team, Christy and Charles Wood and Alexis, for doing an incredible job over there. Darren, you're back on. I think we're gonna shut down here, but where can folks either get this replay or reach out or send additional questions if they have as a follow-up?
Yeah, like I said before, if you didn't get a chance to finish, watch the entire video, you can go to our website, ChattanoogaChamber.com, or our Facebook page. We have all of the videos we've been posting the entire time.
And can I make one more plug too, Marcus, if you don't mind? This was a conversation that we were having as a group before the actual webcast began. Is there's going to be phases, I believe, to the local funding effort to support small businesses and nonprofits in my case. So the same way that the federal government is rolling out in phases its support for the small business community, I want you to encourage all who are listening to this conversation to stay in touch with our respective organizations, whether that be the Small Business Development Center, the Chamber, the city, and us at the Community Foundation, because I'm very confident that as this COVID-19 moment evolves, there's going to be additional resources and also additional programs that will come online as well that will be able to support you in the foreseeable future. So I just wanted to make that plug.
Lynn, any parting words here? And I think you're on mute.
You're muted, Lynn.
See, I knew I was going to do that. So I would tell people as you're housed with your families, go out on the internet and buy some gift certificates. Do some things to help some of these local small businesses have some cash flow now that then you can, with your families, go and enjoy those gift certificates and things once we're past all this. And please make sure you're getting relevant information from sites from resource partners such as you're hearing from today, to make sure that you're not getting taken, you're not part of a scam. If you have questions, please reach out to us.
Jermaine?
Yeah, you know, I would encourage everyone just to take advantage of all the resources that are out there and available. If you have a question about a program, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us to ask. You can always anybody can email me. So my email is Freeman, like Freeman, at Chattanooga.gov. And so feel free to shoot me an email. I got a lot of emails right now, so it may take me a little bit to get back to you, but I will get you a response. So if you have a question, don't hesitate to reach out, because we obviously want to try to help as many small businesses as possible.
I love it. And then, you know, from my perspective, this is a tough time, but Chattanooga is finding a way to make it through it. We've got an incredible community of small business owners. I advocate that everybody take care of themselves and their family and find a way to get a win every day. And that win can come through learning something new. It can come through, as Lynn stated, helping somebody else learn something new or do something more. The work that Dwayne and the Community Foundation are doing, not just around businesses, but around people, is essential to helping us all get through this, because our businesses are here to help people. And if our people are not feeling good, then we're not going to do well as a community. And so, you know, find a way to win every day. Again, Darian and the Chamber, thank you so much for creating a platform for us to be able to share this with the community. If you have any questions about anything, you can also reach out to Co.Lab at info.colab.co, or you can reach out to me directly at marcus@colab.co. We love to be able to point people in the right directions, and the three gentlemen on this call today are doing things that are helping businesses in Chattanooga. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, entire panel. You guys have been great. We'll keep spreading information. And just remember, you can log on to the Chamber's website for all of this information and some. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.